Welcome friends to Farm Fresh Designs 59. In today's video, I have 3 simple projects with just a little twist with each one. So let's get started. My first project is a wooden tag that I ordered several together off of Amazon, and I actually cut this one down so it would be just a little bit shorter. And this is the rabbit that came from the new IOD Holly Glen transfer, and it comes with that background around it. So I wanted to put this one in the middle because I'm going to be adding around the edges. I spray painted it with Rust-Oleum chiffon cream, and then once it dried, I made sure to put a clear sealer on it before I began to put the transfer on. As I was putting the transfer on, you just rub it with the tool they provide and then go back over it with the plastic just to burnish it. Now this is a mold by Redesign with Prima, and it's called Tassel Fringe, and it's got some beautiful pieces on it. And what I'm using is just one of the long planer trims, and I put cornstarch in the mold, and this is just DOS air dry clay. And I roll it together in my hands just to get it warm so it will go in just a little bit easier. And then after I push it all down, then I just go back over it with like a little credit card to smooth it out on the edge. Now I'm going to be making several pieces of this because I'm going to be going all around the edge of this tag. And that was one reason why I left a little bit extra wood down at the bottom. Now, if you'll notice, I've already gotten those 3 pieces done. And look at the way that I cut it on the edge down at the bottom, because I want those pieces to look like, sort of like a picture frame, the way that they miter the corners. And I just do that by kind of putting it together and just using that same credit card to kind of just cut it in two before I begin to glue it down. And I glue it down with Titebond Thick and Quick, sorry. And then I go ahead and get pieces made for up at the top as well. Now, at the very top, there is a little hole that you hang it with. So I took one of the little small pieces out of that same mold, and I use that credit card to just kind of slice it in half so that that fringe would show up at the very top. And I'm using the same Rust-Oleum chiffon cream, and I'm going to go ahead and paint it while it's wet. But when I do that, I don't want to mess up the mold at all, so I just dab it on really easy with a real light touch. And when you do that, it's supposed to keep the clay from cracking as it begins to dry. And I actually just go along the very top. I wait just a little while before I paint it on the sides of those little edgings. And then when I do, I just use a really teeny little brush so that I don't get paint on that transfer. And then you'll see in just a minute that I put a little piece of lace in it to hang it from. And then I made one of those little bows where I just kind of wrap it around my finger a few times and then just tie it in the middle with the same piece of lace. But before I show you, I wanted to bring something extra to my videos. One of my viewers mentioned that she noticed that I layered my particular items, so she wondered if I made cards, my own handmade cards, and I responded I did. And so she mentioned that that might be something neat that I could add to my videos to kind of go along with the different projects, as if you might be giving it away for a gift. So I decided I would go ahead and try that. Now, this is just some of those little plain cards that you buy in a pack at Hobby Lobby. And this one in particular is the cream paper. And this paper that I'm cutting with my paper cutter now came in a pack. And I think it comes from that company that Hobby Lobby sells a lot. And I think it's called the Paper Factory. So they put that stuff on sale every other week. So it came in a large pack with paper that was all of this like brown paper, and it just had different finishes on it. And so every other week they put it on sale either for 40% off or 50% off. So that's when I always get it. And this is some of the same lace that I am hanging the tag with. And there's a place about 30 minutes from my house where I can buy lace and buttons super cheap. And actually, I just went Friday, so I was low on my buttons and my lace. So I love this lace because I think I only pay about 15 cents a yard for it. And if you buy lace, you know that that is super cheap. So before I take that craft paper little square that I'm going to be putting on top of my card, I want to go ahead and get the lace on it, and I want to make sure those edges are not seen. So before I tape that to the top of my card, I go ahead and tape that lace on the back of it. And I do 3 strips of lace over to like one side of it. Now I know that different people attach their paper to the cards in different ways. Some people use like school glue, or some people use those little tape rollers that you can get. I just happen to like to use double-sided tape. And so I get mine from Walmart, and I just use the generic version. Years ago when I used to make a lot of cards, I would buy it in bulk, but I don't make cards as much as I used to. But I like having extra cards on hand because you just never do know when you want to send a note to somebody or to add to a gift. And then I put that tape all around the edges, and then just press it down real tight. Now, this is a small transfer from that Holly Glen, and this one is a rabbit. So I'm going to be attaching this to my card. But if you remember, I told you that I like to layer things a lot. So I'm going to be putting this on some paper that's also that cream paper that comes from that little pack of cards. And I just transfer it on. I don't have to spray any sealer on it at all. It just transfers on just like this. And actually, I'm not going to put another sealer on it, top of it, just because it's a card, so that it's not going to get a lot of wear and tear. But you put it on the same way. You just rub it with that tool, and then you're going to go back over it and burnish it. Now, if you'll notice, I put that over in the corner of the paper. So now I'm going to cut that paper and make a little small square. And I can't tell you exact measurements. It's usually about 1/4 of an inch edging around it. Now I take some more of that craft paper, and I'm going to layer that little square with the rabbit on top of that. And I'll leave about 1/4 an inch around the edges. And I just like to use my paper cutter to get that edging straight. And that comes from my Cricut, but you can buy the Fiskars as well. Now, I want to layer it just one more time. So now I'm going to layer it again on that cream-colored paper before I attach it to the card. So actually, you've got that transfer sitting on 3 pieces of paper. And I like to make cards that way. I think that it makes them a little bit more professional looking. And it just shows that you went to, a little bit more effort to make that card, especially when you're going to be giving it to someone special. So I will actually be putting this on the card a little bit different, because when you look at the card, you've got several different layers with that the lace fabric or the fabric lace. So putting tape on the back and then trying to attach it would be a little difficult. So these are those little dots that you can put to raise things up. And so these are just some older ones that I had from Creative Memories. And so I'm just going to be putting them on with that. And then it lifts it off of the card, and it just adds another layer to it and just makes it look just a little bit more professional. And years ago, I was in a craft show, and that was all I made for my craft show was cards, and they sell really well because cards are so expensive these days. Even at Dollar Tree, I think they've even gone up just a little bit. So I'll be putting that on the card over to the side, just not completely on top of that lace, but just on top of it. And it just kind of adds just another layer to it and adds a little bit more character to it. So in the comments below, make sure and let me know, is this something that you're interested in? Are you interested in some different card making videos? I don't want to necessarily make an entire video about cards, but is this something that you like to do? And this is the little hang tag and the card to go along with it. So when I put this in my booth, I will sell these together as a set. So what do you think? I think they're both really pretty, and I love rabbits. And I guess I probably could give this one to my sister, but we'll wait and see. Now, someone reached out to me recently about some office desk accessories and asked me to, see if I like these products. And so I'm using them in my video today, and I'll share the link below if you're interested. Now, my next project, I am taking some little pieces of wood that I cut with my miter saw, and I am using Voodoo Gel Stain by Dixie Belle, and it's the natural color. So I wanted it to be a little bit lighter than what I'm going to be putting on that little window frame that's over to the left. Because on the little window frame, which is something that I bought at the Dollar Tree, I'm going to be using the Voodoo Gel Stain that is Tobacco Road with just a little bit of the natural in it to kind of make it a little bit more chocolatey. But if you don't have that product, you can use a brown, or even if you wanted to make the frame of the window black or white. This is one of those little things you can get at Dollar Tree, and I think you can probably put a picture behind it or on top, because it has one of those little hangers on the back, like when you set a picture frame on the table and it kind of leans on it a little bit. But I took that part off. And then once I put that gel stain on both of them, I just wipe it back with the baby wipe, just to kind of lighten it up just a little bit. And that also helps it to dry much faster. Now, the next thing I'm doing is I'm going to use those two little pieces of wood that I stained with the natural stain a while ago, and I'm going to be putting some transfers on it. And this is from that company, Timeless Designs, and I've used several of their transfers before, and you get them only on Amazon, and they are super high quality transfers. And this one is from the set called Farmhouse Churches. And so on the bigger piece, I put the transfer on of one of the churches, and then that little skinny piece, I transfer on the word faith. And then I will be adding it onto that window. I'll be gluing it on with Tight Bond Thick and Quick. But these transfers are wonderful. And this particular set comes with like 6 churches and some scripture and a birdhouse and some birds. It's just a really pretty set. But I really like this company, and the transfers that I have used so far are just really super good quality. And I believe it's a mom and a daughter that started this company. Then what I do is I go and get some of that foam board from the Dollar Tree, and I cut it a little bit bigger than that window shape, and then I painted it black, and then I'm gluing it to the back of that. And I'll be gluing that window on with the Tight Bond. Now, the card I'm going to be making with this one is one of those little packs of cards you get from the Hobby Lobby, and it's just the brown craft paper. And I'm transferring on the scripture that comes from Esther, perhaps this is the moment for which you have been created. I just go ahead and transfer that on the right side. And then on the left side, there is a transfer of a little small birdhouse that has the same flower on it that is attached to this particular scripture. And I just think it's really pretty, because sometimes making cards can be just really simple, but putting this scripture on it and putting the birdhouse on it, it just gives so much meaning to it. And then all of these cards are blank, so you can, add something to the inside. It can be for birthdays or a thank you card, or just sometimes a little note that, you might want to stick in the mail. If somebody's having a hard time and you just want to send them some encouragement, I just think these little blank cards are perfect for that. And they come in all the different sizes. And so I always try to keep these on hand. And if you'll notice, I've got some Band-Aids on my wrist. Last night when I went to my daughter's house, I cut my hand just a little bit, and my grandson went and got me some superhero Band-Aids. So I just knew I'd be making a fashion statement with those Band-Aids on. So, and I didn't want to come home and put some other ones on because, he put them on and he thought he was helping Grammy so much by putting her on some superhero Band-Aids. But I'm be putting these two pieces together. I'll be putting the window with the church on it, and then the card with the scripture on it. And this is what it looks like so far. Now, while you're watching this, I just wanted to let you know, with those desk accessories, they are really nice. But I will tell you that the stapler is a really good stapler. I really like the tape dispenser, but the scissors, they just don't really cut very well. So I wanted to give you a really honest review of this set. And so if you're interested, I'll leave that link in the description box below. But tell me, what do you think of this window and this particular card? But I really like it. I like that scripture goes along with that church. Now, the next piece, I'm going to be taking some decoupage paper, and I'm going to be putting it on like a real small aluminum little pan. And these are the two sheets that go together, and I get those from Decoupage Central. And it's got the deer on it, and it's got like some garland around it, and I just think it's really pretty. And this is something that I've had before in one of my other videos, and I'm just using Pentart decoupage varnish and glue to put it on. And it's going to be a little bit bigger than the back side or the bottom side of that little pot. And once I get it all glued on, and then if you'll notice in just a minute, I use like a little piece of saran wrap to push it down and to get any wrinkles out of it. But decoupage paper is a lot thicker than a regular napkin that we would decoupage with. And you're not really going to have a lot of wrinkles when you put these on, unless you just don't put it on very well. And then up there on the handle, there was just a little piece of greenery that had some red berries with it. So I'm just putting that on the handle. And then I'm just going around with my little finger sander and just like sanding off those little edges. And then what I'll do after that's all said and done, I'll just put like a little lace bow on it at the top. And this could actually be a little Christmas ornament, because this little pot looks like it could be used with a little kid's kitchen set or something. It's definitely not something that you would use in your regular kitchen, but sometimes, people like to make Christmas trees that have like a kitchen theme on it. Now, the card that I'm going to be making with this is I'm going to be using a little piece from that decoupage paper. And this is just some paper that I had. It came from a book, and I didn't have any scrapbook paper that was this red color. So I was flipping through one of my ephemera books, and I saw this, so I'm actually cutting this out. And I'm using those scissors from that desk accessory set. And they're not sharp at all. But I wanted to show you these like on this video. And I'm going to be attaching it to just a little white card. No, I think this is a cream color card. And then I'm going to be putting a little square on top of this card. And then over to the left, you'll see a little strip that's about, I think it's about 1.5 inches wide. And I'm going to be gluing that on, taping it on top. And then there's just a little piece that came from that decoupage paper set that said Merry Christmas. So I'll be putting that all together. But it ties it all in together. And because the wording that comes from that decoupage set, rice paper set, it's going to be in the same color family. So that just kind of makes it look a little bit better that those reds go together. Because, at Christmas, the reds that you're going to find, they're going to be so many different shades, but these shades went really well together. And here's those two pieces together. So what do you think? And there's the little lace bow. Now, I wanted to put a red bow on it, but I couldn't find any red ribbon that was that exact shade. And I didn't want to use a different color red because it would just stand out and it wouldn't look right. So you can't go wrong with lace. But if you have like a little kitchen Christmas tree, sometimes people will hang like old utensils and different things. So this would be appropriate for that. Or, you could just hang it up in your kitchen. So here's all of our pieces today. I've got a project and I've got a card to go along with it. So in the comment section below, make sure to tell me what was your favorite project today, and tell me, are you interested in me showing you some different card making techniques as we move closer to the Christmas season? But I like making my own cards. And then I actually even have a little stamp that I had made that has my name on the back of it. And it says Cards by Myra. Just, so people will know that I made them. And especially when I used to sell them, I needed to have my name on the back of them. So I hope you enjoyed the video today. But make sure to let me know what was your favorite today. Now, I've got a video coming out this week that's going to be some Shabby Chic, so I can't wait to show you, so you'll have to be watching for that video. But thank you all so much for your support. I appreciate you more than you know. But I love all the different pieces today. So if you like the video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel, and make sure to hit the notifications button so you'll be notified the next time I post a video. Thanks so much, and y'all have a great day.